All right, so what we're going to be doing is going over Google Search Console. Okay, this is basically Google's way of letting you know where your site ranks on any given day or any given time for your search terms. So this is a good way to keep up to date with how you are doing in search. So the very first thing you do when you log into Search Console is you're going to see your overview. Your performance kind of lets you know, you start to see any patterns that you have. Your pattern obviously is that since September, we've been indexing the site a little bit more, which is looking good. But really where we're going to live really is under this performance column on the left. Performance on the left-hand side is really going to give an indication for what search terms you're looking at and you're coming up for, and where you're sitting on those search terms. So for instance, the most popular thing for you is your brand name, Outdoor Shenanigans. But look at this. You've actually received a 52 impressions and 1 click for your keyword 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. Now, what we can do here is we can even change our filter and add our position on the search term. So now we can actually see what our position is going to be for that particular search. So we're going to click on the 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting, and it looks like this is really annoying that keeps coming up. So search appearance over here on the right. And is it going to show us? No data. Why is it not showing us our position? Here we go. Position equals, let's just do position smaller than 1,000. Let's see if it does that. I just don't know why it's not showing us our, oh, here we go. We didn't click it. So there we go. So your position was 7.6, right? So you want to be within the first top 10, which you were. So people who are searching 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting, let's just go ahead and do that in a new tab. 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. And what that allows us to do is just see where you're coming up. It said average position 7.6. I'm not seeing you just yet. So we're going to hit the next button to go to the next page. I'm still not seeing it. Still not seeing you. But that's basically saying that when you do come up, you're coming up on average position 7.6, which is totally cool. So your average click-through rate is 1.9, which is great. So that's actually an area that if you enhanced your 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting page, you would gain more traffic to that search term. Now, when you're looking at your search terms, what you want to ask yourself is, what search term can I optimize for that's going to bring the most traffic that are actually going to buy things, right? Because you could optimize your page for 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting, and you could make your page a world better for the 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. The question that we would have is, what are people going to buy if they get there?
Okay, so for the 5 fundamentals shooting, snap caps would be a good thing because they can, really practice those 5 fundamentals of shooting.
They absolutely could. And here's another one that you're up for the 5 fundamentals. 5 fundamentals, 5 fundamentals, right? So you've got a lot of this stuff going on there. So some of these others are, specific products that you guys are selling and things like that. But I would say that, a good win for you is to create more content on your 5 fundamentals, and yes, make the entire content designed to sell snap caps. Okay. Now, a couple of things that matter when you're dealing with search. Okay. So first of all, we're going to go over to your blog and look at your 5 fundamentals. So we'll just go over here and go to blog. And so again, the purpose of Webmaster Tools is really to give us, an indication of how we're doing on certain search terms and what we can optimize for to monetize. So we're going to come over here to 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. All right, a couple of things that we're going to want to do to make sure that we are getting the most bang for our buck on search engine optimization. We're going to optimize our page. Okay. So what that means is when we are, talking to Google, Google really understands text. They don't really understand images. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change this to heading 1. Okay. And we're going to change it to 5. There's an extra space there. 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. Okay, because this really is for pistols. It could work for rifles, of course, but this really is for pistols. Now, the reason that I changed it to headline 1 is twofold. Number one, I want to change the headline image, right? So I want it to look differently on the front end. And what that means is when we go and now look at it, now that it's got headline 1, it was really small. Now it's going to be a lot more kind of professional looking. Number 2, when we tell Google that is when we use that headline 1 tag, Google's looking for that headline and they're trying to understand, what is this page really about? They see the 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting all over the page, but they're asking themselves, what is this page actually about? And so now you have the opportunity to really go through and say, this is heading 1, Google. So this page is obviously about this, right? 5 fundamentals of pistol of shooting. We're going to change that to 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. Okay. So the first fundamental is not aim, it's aiming. And what we're going to do is we're going to, again, separate this text out, and we're going to tell Google, and we're going to use formatting saying, hey, this is the second most important heading on the site. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 5 fundamentals of pistol shooting. Number 1, aiming. Okay. Now, again, using headline 2, we're letting Google know, we're using the words again, and we're letting Google know, hey, this is important again for you to look at. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to separate this out, and we're going to say 5 fundamentals. Number 2. Now, notice I'm using a different variation, okay? I'm not saying of pistol shooting every single time. I'm using a different variation because, as you saw in your search terms, right, some people are using different variations of 5 fundamentals. The 5 fundamentals of shooting. And what are the 5 fundamentals of shooting? And the 5 fundamentals of shooting are, in fact, 5 fundamentals of shooting. I don't see the word pistol on there, which means I'm going to go make another decision to go and remove the word pistol from my title, because that's not the one that we're getting the most traffic from. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We're getting it from 5 fundamentals of shooting. 5 fundamentals number 2, breath control. Okay. And I'm just going to remove that colon after aiming, because now it's a headline. So paragraph 2. And I'm going to capitalize this. All right. 5 fundamentals number 3, colon, hold control. And headline 2, letting Google know that's, the second most important tag. And we'll make this into headline number 3, the third most important. And then get rid of some white space there. All right. And so we're at number 3, hold control. We're going to go over here to trigger control. Again, make this and make this heading 2. And follow through. Boom. Okay. So now you've got a much more professional looking page anyway, and Google now knows that that's what this page is really about, is the 5 fundamentals. So we've got 5 fundamentals of shooting here, 5 fundamentals of shooting in your title, 5 fundamentals of shooting in your heading 1 tag, and so on and so forth. So now you have an SEO widget installed. So we're going to change our focused key phrase to 5 fundamentals, and this is going to give us of shooting. This is going to give us some related key phrases that we could use in our, oops, you would need a Yoast login here. But, here's your slug. Here's a good slug to have. Here's a good meta description, which you've already got. And so, this particular widget is not, I'm not a fan of Yoast. It's overly complex, and it doesn't really help you, because you can't even go and change your description on here. It's just not overly helpful. But it is good for you to have. I wouldn't take it off your site, but we do want to set a featured image as well. So we're just going to find a good image to use here. Why don't we use pistol? So we have something like that. Two things show up, not really helpful. Find a picture that you can set as your featured image, because that makes a big difference as well.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update this page, and then I'm going to delete the other. There's a test page on there. I don't want Google to see that and be like, oh, this site is just a, kind of a spammy site, right? So you've got your test post. Just delete that test post right here. We're just
Gotcha.
So that's a good way to kind of understand what Google Webmaster, or search, it used to be Webmaster Tools, is now called Search Console. What it does for us, it allows us to really get an understanding of what we're already ranking for, and then what we could do to move forward and monetize. So I'll share my screen real quick, and I'll show you one of my Webmaster Tools Search Consoles, and see if you can pick out anything that would look good for me to move forward with. Oops, we don't want verification, with quickly and easily, so that you can kind of get that experience. So we're just going to go over here. We're going to log into, I believe this is the one that I use. No, I guess not. So we'll switch over to leads, see what that says. No. I just don't understand why they're moving everything and changing everything. And we'll do, instead of Bernie targets, we'll do, look at, after I added the Joe Biden targets, look at the spike. Here we go. All right, so this is the Carry Daily website. All right, so we're going to go over to our performance. And once we hit our performance, it's going to start to give us our indicators for where our page ranking is. Once it loads, here we go. So I'm going to go to average position, average click-through rate. All right, and so this mask is as useless as Nancy Pelosi. I'm in average position 1, which means I get 25% of the clicks, which is huge. 3% is what you're going for. So anytime you have over 3%, you're winning. But look at this one. This mask is useless. I'm at 1.6. There's room for improvement there, but I don't really have anything to sell for that. Biden loves minor stickers. Look, I'm in position 9. That's my sticker. That's a sticker I created. So obviously what that means is, let's go look at that. And you tell me what that means on this site. So it's interesting that my content doesn't even have the word sticker in it, except for the title, right? In fact, it doesn't even say sticker; it says stickers. But much room for optimization on this page to get higher up, which is what I need to do because it's my sticker people are looking for, right? Gun fails. Here's an interesting one. So with gun fails, they're looking for videos and things. I'm in average position 20.9, but I'm getting 2.3% of the clicks, which is huge. Probably a video that's coming up. Second Amendment face mask, right? I'm at position 26.2, but I'm getting 10% of the clicks, which means I could be really making a lot of difference here if I get higher up on the search term. So really what you want to do is, is US Law Shield worth it? Look at that one, right? So that's a good way to get an understanding of, hey, listen, if I start looking at that, and then what I can do is I can actually look at my URL, and I can see what page is actually coming up for this. So if I go over here to pages, is the USCCA worth the money, right? And that's an article that I have about the USCCA. Obviously, I'm pitching the USCCA, and of course, I need to go revise this because I've got the 3 separate packages that they used to have. But yeah, I mean, it's a very simple article. I could triple the content on this article and make a much better presentation for this, right? And that may be worth my time now that I'm actually starting to see some return for that. So the Google Analytics, okay, is really telling us how many people are coming to your site. And then once you use Google Analytics, we're kind of making decisions for how to increase our traffic organically based on the Search Console data. So the Google Analytics side of stuff is saying once they've gotten to our site, what is that data? Whereas Google Search Console is how do they get to our site through Google, if that makes sense. So this one here is, let's just go over here to Carry Daily, and we can see that my traffic in the last 30 days or so has been, last 30 days is set. 2,100 people have come to carrydaily.org. So that's it. You can see email here, Facebook post here, email here, that's what those spikes are, but there's still constant, 75 to 100 people a day that go based on organic search. So you look here and you say, okay, what are people doing when they get to my site? And then you look on Google Search Console to say, how are they getting there from search? Once you see and you recognize a pattern, that's when you know that it's time to sit down and optimize by building new content. Content is what works. So in your case, for what you've got going on, what Google Search Console has told us for your situation is that you want to drastically increase your content on your 5 fundamentals page. So what sort of content can you add that will increase the quality of that page?
Video.
Do you have a video made for that yet?
I do. I'm editing it.
So that's going to be your top priority. What you also want to do is you want to sit down and write out basically everything that you say in that video and make it into text content, because Google can't read video. They can't read images. So
Gotcha.
you've got to kind of almost make a transcript, but using your H1 tags, your H2 tags, and your H3 tags, lay it out. So when you're talking about the aiming, add content to the aiming section. When you're talking about breath control, add content to the breath control section. What you may want to also do is make 5 separate videos. So you've got aiming, breath control, hold control, trigger control, and follow through, and have one main video as well at the bottom of the page that has it all together so that people can go through and learn those individual concepts as well.
Okay.
So have your one video that you edit, save it, export it, have it finalized, then save it as a second video, and export each of the 5 fundamentals into separate little videos so that they're like a minute or 2 long, and then you've got you've got even more content for that page.
Okay.
So that's gonna, that shows you your top priority for content for your page, because and of course revise your content so it's constantly selling snap caps, and make sure snap caps are on your website.
Okay. Sounds good.
Cool. So that's a good training for today. Does that kind of help you point in the right direction for content?
Yes.
Cool. All right. What else do we need to talk about?
I think that's pretty much it. I was worried about the payment since we